This is the underground. What is going on? Happy Friday. Much love to all the purebloods out there. Everybody that shares the stream. Thank you, Flip, for the super chat right at the gate. Said much love, purebloods. Let's go ahead and get the all right, get some 5x5s. All right, so everything's good in that department. All right. Tooch in the house. Bone Score. Want to thank Kev Bar, Tacos, everybody that shares the stream. I appreciate it to the fullest. Yellow Dog in the house. Walk with God. John Boy. Lisa MC. I hope all is well. I seen somebody write that they were frozen in Texas. Well, if you're frozen in Texas, yeah, I know it's cold out there. It's freezing here. It's in the teens, 30s, 40s. It's been in the house. Crazy cold. Ready for it to be over with. John Boy, underground member there for 2 months. Much love. Yeah, we got plenty to cover tonight. Start off with a quick bit of space updates. We've got a lot of stuff that floats around out there all the time. And when it comes to space and space events and objects that are incoming, like asteroids, these things can pop up at any time. They can be discovered any day. And we have one that popped up on the radar, 2024 YR4. And they're saying that it has a slight bit of odds of hitting Earth in December of 2032. Now, last week, people were flipping out because they noticed that it went from 1% to 2.2%, and then up to over 3%, and they're like, well, it's creeping up all of a sudden. Even though it wasn't much, but it was still, for something like this, you got to be on the money. In the way that they do things, putting nothing past them. To wait till the last minute to try to say something about an incoming object, but this object has a new batch of data that's been released. They lower the impact risk to only 0.36%. So that overrides the recent days of wild swings in the number. So that's much better. 0.36%. And that kind of kills all that confusion, all the talk of asteroid about to hit and wipe us out. So, before I leave this, it looks like we do have an incoming object tonight coming in at 0.8 LD. That's between here and the moon, so it's rather close, and you never know. With so much garbage and debris and satellites, all that stuff up there, you never know what something can hit and what could happen. But that is an update in terms of the space and space weather and that asteroid. All right, an update real quick also on Pope Francis. Jesuit Pope Francis is just not in very good shape at this point. He's at a hospital in Rome. I don't care for the man, but I'm not going to sit here and, whatever. Report on what's going on with him here. He's battling pneumonia in both lungs. So that's a battle for someone his age. He's 88 years old. And all the speculation is beginning that there's going to be another pope. It was bad health that made the last pope step down. Much love, D. White. So he's been in the hospital. He actually told one of the people around him there that he didn't think that he was going to survive this. But he had bronchitis that changed to pneumonia. Now they're saying that they think he's going to come out of it. Slightly improving. He's free of a fever. But you just never know. This old, with multiple issues going on, anything can happen. But I would say prepare for a new pope, because the Vatican is suggesting possible resignation. Remember, this happened with Benedict, and Benedict kind of stayed in the catacombs of the Vatican, hidden, out of sight, out of mind, until he did die. It may be the route that Francis is going to take here, but that would open up the door for a new pope, so to speak, here on this world stage. And Pope Francis got a lot of attention because he came in and kind of politicized things and took it to the far left side of the spectrum with his beliefs, his views, control. He's full-blown Jesuit. Everything ran on Jesuit command there, all the way up to the Black Pope. He falls right in line with all that. Anyhow, that's the situation with him. You know, people shouldn't be too shocked to hear something crazy. I say he probably steps down this year. To happen this year. Doesn't look like he's going to get much better, even if he comes out of this. He can't even walk around. He has to be wheelchaired around and all this stuff. So, Lowrider, much love, man. Thank you for the coffees, brother. I hope all is good out there wherever you're at. And it's much appreciated. So, yeah, just some updates there real quick. And I wanted to point this out because I think that sometimes these visuals here are good. Helps you be able to see things in a different perspective. This is the population of each state. When you look at this, you may be shocked, maybe not, to see where your state sits here in this, but California, Texas, Florida, and then New York, where the most people live in this country. California's got almost 40 million, Texas 31 million, Florida 23 million, New York about 20 million. You've got other places like Pennsylvania, it's got like 13 million, Illinois, close to it. And then everything else outside of that is less. It's way less. You know, Maine only has 1.4. What is that? Vermont has 0.6 million. So they've got just over 500,000 people. Rhode Island, 1.1 million. Delaware, the same. DC's got about 0.7. Wyoming, 0.6. North Dakota, 0.8. South Dakota, 0.9. Those are the small ones there. Hawaii, 1.4 million. So that you know, yeah, so comes to across this country, for sure, the largest population sitting in California, Texas, Florida. All right, let's jump to the economic stuff. We're going to start off here talking about the situation here with Solana. If you don't know what Solana is, it is a network similar to Ethereum, cryptocurrency, coin. And with Solana, you can launch other things, other coins, other projects, so to speak. This is what made Ethereum popular, is that it actually does something. You know, out here in the crypto realm, there's been a bunch of Well, pump and dumps, meme coins. Unfortunately, for Solana, they've been utilized to make a bunch of those. And when you see coins out there like Trump coin, that's a meme coin. It basically has no other function or utility. It's just a meme. It just represents the name. They even made one for Melania. And it was like a 1-2. It was kind of crazy that they came out and they did it. And that's a rug pull. But it seems that the people didn't mind. They didn't care that they lost all their money. All the billions of dollars that they made off of it. Just a Trump coin. But again, they did a 1-2 with the Trump and Melania. So they made all kinds of money off this blockchain thing that they're pushing out. This is only going to continue to grow. So in the past, what we used to see, if you're not familiar with the crypto thing, because it's something you're going to have to pay attention to. It's getting larger and larger, and I feel like here eventually, even in the future, there could be a merger. There's going to be some kind of reset. We know this. I've been telling you about this forever. There's going to be a huge event on Trump's watch that resets the economics. I mean, for crying out loud, World Economic Forum came out with the Great Reset, and nothing has been reset yet. All right? So it's about to happen. And they're, what is it, March? Just this next month, the Fed makes their move to integrate all this stuff on the ledger officially. Remember, the Federal Reserve is not a part of this country. It's not a part of our government. It's its own private entity with private individuals. And if anything ever happened to that gold in Fort Knox, it's those people. You talk about an Epstein list. You want that list. Because that's who robbed you blind. Anyhow, with these cryptocurrencies and blockchains, you can't ignore them for much longer because, again, it could be integrated into one big market here in the future where you can invest in these things in many different ways, even in your 401k. I mean, you already can with Bitcoin. It's already begun, all right? You can do it with gold, too. But when you look at this, stablecoins is the key thing here. And in this bull run of the market, stablecoins taking in a lot of money and becoming popular hasn't provided like what you would call pumps, a whole bunch of money into certain coins. Instead, it's gone into a stablecoin. The thing with the stablecoin is it always stays at $1. Okay? So if you're invested in it or holding it, it's never going to make money or lose money. It's stable. Hence the name. So all this money has to go into them to back them. Okay? In the market. And that's where all the money's gone here. This wave is into stablecoins. And what it's done is it's allowed the US dollar to create multiple different versions of its digitized self. This is why they ushered in USDT, USDC, PayPal, DT, whoever's got their own stablecoin. They're exploding. And what are they? They are American made. They are pegged ultimately to the dollar in the US dollar fiat currency. So, this has been a huge push by the governments while acting like it's not them, and they're masters at this. They created Bitcoin. They are Satoshi. It's built on a hash that was created by the NSA, for crying out loud. And yeah, I think you're about to see this full blown. Problem is if it ever is let out the bag, it just, I guess, depends on how brainwashed the people are. What they're willing to accept. Right now, they're just like turning a cheek to everything. We got some interesting stuff about to happen. With the whole gold thing, It makes a huge difference here. Some of the plans that Trump has here, I see crypto and precious metals both exploding in value. And what Trump wants to do, and he's been open about this, he wants a weak dollar, okay? Now, when you do this and people want to start jumping ship on the dollar, they're going to have to hedge and jump into somewhere else. And right now, one of the biggest and best options out there for anyone, even full-blown countries, is Bitcoin. Even the Trump administration saying that they're going to potentially create this Bitcoin reserve. If that becomes official, like this year or whenever, if that becomes official, you can expect Bitcoin to jump, blow past $250,000, on its way toward $500,000. This is going to create a massive movement of wealth. Okay? When we get to the gold thing, people are not going to see this coming. And we don't know what Trump's going to do here ultimately in the end. If he's going to try some confiscation crap, which I really highly doubt at this point. But I'm going to tell you what they're going to do. Get ready for, I predict, an absolutely shocking move, which should happen. It should have done happened, but Trump's going to be the one that gets to play it. And what I mean by this is he is going to be the one to revalue gold. Because right now, all of our gold, it is valued at the $42 an ounce from years and years and years ago. And to revalue that would be to bring that up to current price of almost $3,000 an ounce. Do you know what kind of a difference that is? And what that will do to any gold that you're sitting on? I mean, it will explode in value. And that is the talk. You see, huge moves are going to be made here. And he may do this on the back of a big event. We'll have to see how things play out here. But look at this. The day started off like a good day for crypto. The SEC drops enforcement against Coinbase. If you don't know, Coinbase is the biggest onboarding platform out there that you can get into crypto via the United States. It was the biggest and easiest, but then the SEC kind of ran them out of the country with threats. The guy that was heading it, but now he's gone. Now things are changing. And the SEC drops its enforcement case against Coinbase, which is super bullish. It means they will come back into the United States. It means a ton of bullish things. Like this whole area is going to continue to just blow up. Especially when it's a goal of the Trump administration. They want to become the crypto capital of the world. I mean, Eric Trump came out and said all U.S.-based crypto trading will be tax-free. And that is crazy. I'm just waiting to see it put in stone. The moment that it is, you have two huge opportunities in front of you. You can day trade American crypto projects all day long, making 100% profit and never have to pay a dime in taxes. And you can turn around and you can buy precious metals with it, invest in them, and do the same thing and hold them long term. And again, not have to ever pay any taxes on them. As long as your state's set up like that. Most are at this point. If you're in a state that's not like that, they're still taxing silver and gold. Well, I don't know what to say, but That's how the day started. Here's how it's going. Bitcoin, Ether tumble because Bybit Exchange confirms a massive $1.4 billion hack. They're saying amongst the largest in history. And they went in and they stole Ether and M-Ether, which is Mega Ether. And you can see it dumped it. Now what this did is it liquidated when they did this. And they made this move. This sudden downturn liquidated $100 million worth of leverage in derivatives. Trading positions. If you know what they were? Longs. Okay? So, I'm not so sure that this is as much of a heist as it is making this move. When you can shake out people that are in long positions before you go long, it's just that many more people that you don't have to pay out. And all that money can go to yourself if you're in a long. It makes the contract worth much more. So what they've done here is it's spiked down. Bitcoin does this all the time. It spiked down on this news and cleared all these longs out. Okay? So if someone had one set and had been riding it for days or weeks and, was working or out somewhere today, it came down quick, would have wiped it out, and it shot back up. And that, I've been watching this stuff for a long time, man. It seems like it's a heist move. I swear, it was designed. They benefit more. Whoever is in this long benefits more from wiping out all these longs right here because they don't have to pay them out. They've been wiped out. And all their money's good. They just took all their money. They could have set a short at the top. Here's the crazy thing. They could have set a short at the top before this news broke and rode this thing all the way down, and bet you they did. And made a killing today. That's where it's at. Shorting. They don't teach the people that, but that's where it's at. Because all the people can do is buy and hope it goes up, and that's the only way you can make money. You got to sell at the top, wait for it to come back down, get in and play this back and forth game. When you can short it, you can make a killing. This whole thing is about to come down. I suggest you learn to short quick. It's what they do. It's how they rob you of all your money and liquidate the 401ks, which they're about to do in what I call the great taking. I've told you all this in advance. Before it even happens, you were told clearly, had enough time to get it out of your 401ks. This is coming. Also, you got to know that with Bitcoin, it's very clear that everything, the whole crypto industry, is driven on news. A lot of the industry is. Stocks, too, the same way. But crypto makes it more obvious. Okay? Just as I'm showing you now. Earlier today, all the word was the SEC is dropping the thing against Coinbase. It got close to $100,000 before this news broke. Bybit gets hacked for $1.4 billion. This sends it tumbling all the way down. And all this. So, a lot going on here, but man, that's the name of the game out here. The ups and the downs in crypto. All right, going to move out of that and move on to some updates over here. Delta. And this is kind of odd. They're offering $30,000 to each passenger that was on the plane that crashed and that flipped over in Toronto. They didn't want to say anything about the pilots. They wanted to keep it all quiet. They were very hush-hush in trying to cover this up, and now they're trying to pay everybody off with $30,000 apiece. Some say it's a very guilty look, and that They don't know ultimately what they're trying to hide, but it seems like that's what's going on. Like they're trying to hide something here. And just quickly pay off all these people. So, I don't know. It was a very odd crash. We've seen a lot of crashes, but this one came down and just it was hard landing. As soon as it hit the ground, I don't know if the wheels were out or if they just gave way or what happened, but it hit, it rolled, and they're lucky to be alive. No one was killed in that event was pretty crazy. Seeing how it came down so hard and rolled, but everybody lives with a story to tell, I guess, out of that one. But yeah, they're dangling $30,000 in front of them. Forget that. I'd sit back and I'd wait. I bet you I'd sue hardcore, get you $300,000 at least. The heck with all these big companies. If you can get your piece of the pie, get it, and get it now before this whole thing goes to hell, because it's going to. Just when everyone thinks it's everything's peachy, it's when it's going to hit. Thing is, Trump has the defense here that he didn't create this whole mess. That, they put it on him, which in essence is true in a lot of ways. But it's not going to stop him from doing this. It didn't stop him from locking everybody down, did it? And playing a whole freaking world game, right? They locked everybody down. China did, Russia did, every single country played the game. They were all in bed on it. It's one of them rare moments that shows you how many countries are actually in on it together. Because it wasn't what it seemed. And any real person, real one of us out here, would call it for that. What about other countries? Other countries, they all played along with it. They all reported numbers. They all made their people mask up. They all played the game. Now, they're saying that over 500 studies connected to COVID and the jabs are being retracted because of unreliable information. And they're admitting all these side effects and factors that are being connected to it now, that before they didn't want to say a single word about. So in terms of the Trump administration getting in there and any positives coming out, it's things like these, I guess, that are the positives, that it's coming to light. It's being brought into the light. That all this is unreliable. That all that information is bunk. It's bogus. We were screaming it last time. The problem here is when you do things, just like when Trump was in it the first time, and then a Biden regime can just get installed, nobody does anything about it, and they can just peel back everything that Trump did the first time. And he did. Biden did it left and right. And Trump's doing the same thing now to him, peeling back all this Biden stuff. But remember, Biden put a lot of things in motion, especially right there at the end, where he made it to where the things he was doing couldn't be undone by the next president and all this other stuff. And see, I just don't buy none of that. A criminal is a criminal. This is why I think that Biden should go down and be charged and all this stuff. I don't care. How can you sit there and say all this stuff and not charge that administration at all? It's just ridiculous. How do they get a pass? It's their fault. And, Trump would admit that they play the left-right game. They're they destroyed the country. Well, put them in jail for it. But they won't do that because it's a game. This is the big show. This is the real acting. Do you understand that? It really is. I mean, even Trump was a low-level actor, and you graduate up to this level. It's how well you can play the people. In that, he is master. He has shown. This is beyond Hollywood. Hollywood is below this. These are real-time, in real-time, real-life actors, basically, playing this whole thing out from the establishment at this level, okay? Below this is Hollywood. Can't you see Biden just got a deal? Even Kamala just signed a contract with Hollywood. I'm serious. People need to wake up. Like, like this, all this is. I get it. If you're just walking into the game, this is your first election, your first all this, and you're waking up and you're trying to grasp it, that's one thing. But man, for people that have been around 10, 15, 20 years, man, come on. How many times you got to see this to realize? I know some of you guys that follow me get it. You see it clearly for what it is. But man, I fear that another event's going to happen. It's going to be real. That's my biggest fear. Let's just put it that way. I try not to fear anything, but I've prepared for this because they've telegraphed it. It's going to be nothing worse than a real deadly event dropped. So what do we have? China reporting a new coronavirus with pandemic potential. They're saying has been discovered here. Yeah, so markets start to take a dive on this news. They say that this is a little different than the last concoction that they tried to feed everybody. Of course, look how they're tying it into a bat. You know, it's like, I mean, like, fool me once, you know, fool me twice. It's like, nah. On my, here, let me go over and pull it up. Just to remind folks of some things. We had event 201 that went down right before the whole scam went into motion. And then we just had another big event that took place at the end of this last year. But this here, right here, is what I want you to see. Sparse pandemic. And what does it say? What does it say? 2025 to 2028. And that's all on Trump's watch. That is the window. The target was 2025. Bill Gates had to come out. He had to drop his sigils and telegraph all the stuff. And he even said, he goes, oh no, you guys got, you've pushed it back basically 4 years. 4 years. This window on Trump's watch, it's not per se going to be released this year. But maybe, I don't know. He just basically acted like we might have bought us some time. But I'm not so sure. The sparse pandemic, 2025 to 2028. That's an open telegraph right in front of your face. Arma, thank you for the coffees. Appreciate that. Much love. Let me turn it down. The signs are there. Mr. Gates showed back up, gave us an updated timeline on what they're expecting. Sparse pandemic, as you just seen right there, is telegraphed from right now through 2028. It's all Trump's watch. And now you can see here this new thing out of China. Okay, and we were talking bird flu, and that's definitely loaded and ready to go. But this is a new thing. They say this is a new virus. They say that it's even closer related to MERS, which is a deadlier type of coronavirus that kills up to 1/3 of the people that it infects. That right there is the game changer. That percentage, and that's what I've been watching this whole time to see what is going to be, what even has the potential, what has a decent lethality rate here that's going to take people out, drop bodies, pile them up, but not be too bad where it's going to get out of control on them. This fits the bill. It sure does. 1/3? Yeah, they'd love that. See, they didn't get nothing like that this last time. If they could bump it up to a third like this and wipe out a third of the people, like straight up, and have bodies piled up everywhere, I think that's what they've been aiming for the whole time. Again, they don't want this to get too out of control. That's why they did a complete beta test on it for years. And you know it. And now when you look back at it, it should be shocking to anyone that's trying to get a beat on what's about to happen. Because you can look back and you can see what we went through, what they pulled off, that it was just that, a big beta test. And realized that bodies were never piled up anywhere. That the moment the bodies are piled up, this thing changes. And I keep telling you, and never forget this. All these strike teams, these ICE teams, Tom Homan, all them that are going around doing all this stuff, they will be turned into teams to round up purebloods, dissidents, people that don't take the jab. That's what they're going to be used for. I'm telling you, I'm warning you, there's no one else, anyone that's got a brain that can sit there and play this whole thing out and look at the options and see what's already out there in play, in motion. You can see that this whole thing's a setup. Putting Biden in there and letting this whole wave and everything set up the whole reason, the excuse to be able to do what they're doing. Because people just weren't going to buy, like, well, if Trump would have won, then they wouldn't have got all the flooded people in there. Then they wouldn't have this. It would just be different. We would have never had the influx of people come in. And that is the excuse. That gave them the excuse to have strike teams now across the country. And no one's saying a word. They're going into all the sanctuary cities declaring war, which is good. It's good that they're going after the criminals and the murderers. But the more you hear Homan talk, he even says it. He goes, anybody that's in there with him, if we go in there for a murderer and we can't find the murderer, and there's like 10 other people that all can take you out. And it's just like, dude, like, couldn't you guys pick somebody better than this? I don't know. He's an establishment goon. You can see there's pictures of Tom Homan going back to like the 80s with his blonde hair, working Border Patrol. This dude is putting his time in his work, that's for sure. I'll give him that. At the department, he's went from the bottom to the top. He put in his time. But I'm like, I asked the question, like, where were you? The whole Biden regime. Like, where were you guys at? Like, just sitting there quiet, doing nothing? I just don't get it. Like, I'm asking that a lot about a lot of things at this point. I feel we have to. But just remember, this new MERS coronavirus can take out a third of the people. You wake up next week one day and they're saying there's Chinese bodies stacked up all over the place. Well, I don't know, man. I don't trust them at all. I don't trust RFK. It's another one I do not trust. If he was anything real like his daddy and his uncle, I hate to say it, but he would have got they would have persecuted him the same way. But no, he gets silver platter, and he gets it because he's playing the game. He's going the other route. That's the disgusting thing. It's a disgrace to see that. If I was JFK or RFK, his dad, to see any of my blood, especially my son or whatever, towing the line for the same beast that we lost our lives trying to fight, it'd be sickening. If I just got killed trying to fight the beast, me and my bro, trying to do the right thing, fight the good fight, didn't have to, but did. One of my seeds, I'm sitting here watching from the other side, gets to this point and is towing the line, it's sickening. You hear the term rolling over in their graves, but that's what I think of, because they paid the ultimate price. That's why they're heroes. That's why they're legendary. You see? As I told Elon, you don't become the hero fighting for the beast. You only become the hero fighting against the beast. They said they're going to be puppeteered around like they're the heroes, and they're not. Inside, they know it's all show. And they know that they don't have all of us fooled. But even people that ain't even fully awake out there can say the same thing. I see people waking up to it like, man, how has he not been attacked or, anything like that? They took out JFK, RFK, JFK Jr. He's playing the thing. Oh, because he jumped up there and said that he backed the full jab schedule for children. Yeah, and look at this. Who's going after your children's health? This clown. And because everybody bought the whole time that he was garbling about jabs, and they set up, this is all PSYOP, they set up the Children's Health Defense Fund, or whatever it's called, Children's Health Defense, this critical little name that makes you think that, or anyone that sees it, that they're fighting for the children. It paints this picture, and that's what they did. And they did all that before they even got him into the race and all that. And it was just to have him fold into this position. Ultimately, they knew it. They knew where he was going, the whole role, everything. What seat he was going to fill, all that. And now they got him in there. And what is the sickest thing is the piece that I've showed several times now is that, he sat there in front of Congress and said, this is the most dangerous jab ever created, talking about the COVID jab, and then turns around and says that he supports it being in what all the other concoctions on the schedule, which he initially said he was not for. So he's a super flip-flopper. I just don't trust him at all. At this point. None of them. I don't trust none of them. This whole thing is a setup. It's a totalitarian regime. The whole trick is to ease the masses. That's all this is about. It's conning the masses. It's getting them to believe something, no matter what it is. And they have gathered the whole crowd, you see now, in one side, all the sheep in one stable. One area, see, because they put, the staged big bad boogeyman, Biden and Kamala, they stacked them up against. So I hear it, I see it out of the small-minded people all the time, like, oh, you would have voted for Kamala, but it's just like, man, if you can't see the trick there, I don't even know what to tell you. And some people can't. They refuse to. See it every day. We give these people their props where they're due, but we call them out where it needs to be. And what's disgusting is that some of these individuals just won't even call them out on anything, which is scary. That's like, that's just crazy, man. You got to keep everyone honest, man. You got to call them all out for anything that they're doing wrong. I don't care how great they seem. They're doing something wrong and they need called out. Need held accountable for it, not just given a pass. But you'll give them a pass on Gaza and you'll look the other way, right? You give them a pass on warp speed. You don't even want to talk about it. You'll look the other way, right? You give them a pass on the blockchain he's ramming down everybody's throat. You don't even talk about that, right? Like, none of it. It's garbage. It's absolutely ridiculous. This guy, flip-flopper, on film. Yep, you don't want to talk about that neither. You want to turn around, walk the other way, or just scroll right past it in the feed and act like you didn't see it. It's pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Talk about having no integrity. Some of these people. Josh, much love. Thank you for the super chat. Look, I'm just keeping it real, man. What I see is, again, black magic at the highest level by wizards that are pulling this off, and witches. You don't even understand. Just see them for what they really are. It's not just Trump and all, it's the whole thing. It's all of them. That is what the establishment is. You stand the Tall Seed, RFK, all of them. They're all part of the club. And the club worships the fallen. Do you see? Do you understand it now? And that's all it is. It's pretty simple in the end. But you try to tell a Trumper that, someone that voted for him, they're like, oh, like, they start melting down. It's just ridiculous. Anyhow, all right, so check this out. They came out saying that Doge found this and found that. And again, I had to call it out. I had to say something like, how can they go to dozens of, heckin' 4, 5 guys, he said, that was Doge, just going for what they said, what they hired, college kids, one named Big Balls, go to dozens of different facilities, just under one branch of the government in many different states. Because they said they showed up at these places and they demanded that they let them in, like Social Security and all that other stuff. Well, when an audit happens, an audit also has to be reviewed by a human. And some of these people just don't even stop to think about none of this stuff. They're just like, oh, AI, 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 AI. Just like the week before they were repeating DEI, DEI. Like, it's sickening what I'm saying. It's absolutely sickening. I'm really starting to see that the spirit of Antichrist is in motion. Fooling the masses, because I don't see many of these people even mentioning Jesus. To be honest with you, I almost feel like they care less. They'll talk it, they'll say it. Oh, I will pray for you, but they're the type to say it and don't even pray. That's what this has become. Oh, we send prayers to say, and don't even take a second to actually make the prayer. It's how fake everything is. It's pathetic. I'm so sick of it. The fake people, man. So they come out and they tell you, we found billions, right? Trillions missing, right? Into this black hole. But with Social Security, the chief says, hold on a second. He goes, that's not necessarily the case here. Because they came out and they told us that 100, 200, even 300-year-olds were collecting payments on this Social Security, which is crazy, right? Like, it shouldn't be happening. You should clean it up. None of that should be happening. But, as I keep saying, like, I want the whole scoop. I want all the deets here, like, as much as possible. And when you start to get them, the head of the Social Security Administration, the new one, addressed all the speculation that millions of deceased individuals were getting paid, stating that they are all likely exaggerated. And that's, see this, hold on, stop. Exaggerated. Then how can you even trust a single thing that Elon's saying? We need facts, not some dude just saying, oh, we just saved trillions, and like, well, you don't know where it went, and like, we don't care, and like, not even talking about nobody going to jail. Again, this is the highest black magic you've ever seen and lived through. But this guy is saying that, no, he acknowledged all the reports in the situation. He goes, no, that people in their records, they're looking at, this is what he says, reported data are people in our records with the Social Security number who do not have a date of death associated with the record. So that's what he's saying. He's saying that on that record, it just simply doesn't have a date of death listed. Okay? And Elon and everybody basically jumped to conclusions and just all said, oh, they're all getting paid. It was a jumping to conclusion. They don't even know. They just made the assumption. This is garbage. And people are just going to accept it. Go on to the next headline. That's the scariest thing, what they're doing to the people around you, because that's all that counts to them. If they can get a majority of the populace to buy it and accept it, that's all what they ever wanted to do. Then they'll turn them on you. So, here's Musk. I'm going to play this clip here. I really can't stand him at all. None of them. I see them for what they are through and through in these end days where they're leading everybody. Mr. Brain Chip guy here, world's richest man, not even elected, wanting to go through all your tax stuff. Also, let's not forget that. What do you do when the tables turn? Huh? Here, we'll play this.
I think it's really important for people to understand that the Biden administration sent any possible money that they could if there was money they could send to facilitate and amplify illegal immigration, they sent it. Mm-hmm. Okay, they took money from FEMA meant for helping Americans in distress and sent that money to luxury hotels for illegal immigrants in New York. That is an outrage. Yeah. They actually did that. And not only that, even after the president signed an executive order saying it has to stop, the FEMA, the sort of whatever deep state bureaucrats still pressed send on $80 million last week to go to the Roosevelt Hotel in New York and other places last week. And now they're mad that it got stopped, and they're like trying to sue to have it be restored. It's like the gumption is.
Thank you, John. Now hold on a second. Listen to what he just said. He said last week he knew they sent this money. All right, who was in charge? Again, the investigator in me is just screaming, punching the wall like these guys are frauds. Mr. Dark MAGA here is coming out again telling you all these instances of high treason. Is even what they're calling it, but yet not a mention of taking anyone down.
You think they're creating a new voter class? Would you think that was the goal when they open up the borders for 4 years? Create a new voter class, get them citizenship, get them in, green cards, vote.
A lot of these things, like you don't actually have to assume some grand conspiracy. You just need to look at basic incentives.
Benefits.
So if the incentives, fundamentally, if the probability that an illegal is going to vote Democrat at some point, whether it's cheating, but eventually they can become citizens. But if the probability is like 80, 90%, you just look at California, which is supermajority Dem, and then the incentive is to maximize the number of illegals in the country. That is why the Biden administration was pushing to get in as many illegals as possible and spend every dollar possible to get as many, because every one of them is a customer, every one of them is a voter.
Yeah.
And so the whole thing was a giant voter importation scam.
Pretty obvious.
Very obvious.
Yeah.
And then they actually created the CVP1 Border Act thing, where they were, which is like where they would literally fly people in. It's not like like at the point at which,
I got something huge for you. At the end of the stream, I'm going to expose and I'm going to show you Elon Musk is covering his own tracks. You want to know how Elon Musk got such a huge start in his money for all these other places? Guess where the money was funneled through? These same type of government places like USAID. Oh, yeah. And guess who's going in and wiping all that stuff out now? We're going to dive into that. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Ike. Shades to hide those reptilian eyes, huh? All right, going to keep it pushing. Again, I'm going to circle back around Elon here toward the end. And again, thank you guys for the super chats, coffees, the love and the support. Appreciate it to the fullest. Let's slide to another big headline here. The Epstein client list. It is on AG Pam Bondi's desk. So do you think she's seen it? You think she looked at it by now? Surely. You think she's seen some names on there that were in the government? In like some, yeah. So she has this list. You think it's going to take her a week to read it? You think she already read it? I'd say she already read it. If gone over it several times. With a highlighter. This is interesting because they got to say something now. They got to say something now. She's got it on her desk. It was just like the whole... I mean, they can deflect. Don't get me wrong. But it was like the whole drone thing. Like, we weren't going to find nothing out officially until Trump got in there. He gets in there and then they tell us officially, what's going down. All right, y'all said you were going to release JFK, we're going to release the Epstein list, 9/11, this and that, like garbage. Like, he ain't spoke a shred of truth when it comes to 9/11. Yeah, do you know where Trump was watching the towers go down that day? Huh? You know where he was at, perched? Front row seats? Huh? Along with all the other rich... Oh, yeah, and the thousands that didn't show up for work that day. They will never release all the goods on Blind 11. He won't, for sure. Because when he was even asked about the Israelis, he switched the whole thing up like, oh, yeah, we heard there were some Muslims on the rooftops that were down there, and blah, blah, blah. And he went that whole route. Wouldn't have dared said a word about the Mossad agents that were busted and on camera and even on the mainstream media news caught saying that they were sent there to document the events of that day. And the only way that you can be sent there to document the events of that day is if you had foreknowledge. Thank you, Kathy. And they did. And this is all in the books, history. You can't take it back. They can't change nothing. These are facts. Philip, 2 cents. Thank you for the coffees. So, you already see that Trump is the Gentile Messiah. They have dubbed him this, man. He knows full well what he is doing, what he took on, and what he is pulling over on the people. He knows full well. He don't care. He chose this. He chose this. And boy... the power trip here is starting to become something else. First time around, it wasn't like this. First time around, he wasn't... This whole Messiah thing is a different level, man. He's being called this by the most powerful people behind the curtain in the world. They kill everybody, murder everybody, they pull off all the staged events. Yep, them. And you think everything's good. Well, maybe not you guys listening, but large part, man, I think about the masses out here that are just blindly ignoring some of these key factors. But this would be a bone to chew on, won't it? I mean, it needs aired out. It needs to happen. And if you're taking down people left and right all over the place anyway, and ditties are going down and everything else like this, is it going to be a manicured list? I'm sure. It's probably the most up-to-date, who they want to go after and take out type of list. Who ain't paid their satanic dues here as of late. That's who's going to get checked. My guess. Some names are going to not be on there. Now, do you think that this Trump administration that will not put Hillary in prison, Hillary Clinton, do you think that Bill Clinton's name is going to be on this client list? Do you really? He's on the freaking wall in a mural, in a painting, in a dress. And we know flights dozens of times. Do you think that this Trump administration is going to drop that name? Drop Bill Clinton? All right, so let's go to Chris Matthews. Man, all these guys getting old and old. Guess we all are, but he nonchalantly at the end here in this talk says how someone should take a shot at Trump. And you wonder where all this gets seeded and put out into the masses, where something happened.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of rules out there about how to behave when you're losing. But, you know, the big problem is that Trump came in this second time, with a machine gun. And he fired so many shots. He said, first of all, the people that tried to kill Congress by attacking the U.S. Congress on January 6th.
Look how he already started. He starts off talking about with a machine gun, Trump coming in with a machine gun, and then kill, the term kill, and then Congress.
6th, I'm going to pardon them all to let you know where I stand. I'm with them. That was a pretty clear statement. I'm with Article 2, not Article 1. I'm not with the Congress. I'm not looking out for you guys. And when it came time for advice and consent, which was a whole book written about, and it was a big issue, the right of the Congress to say no to a cabinet appointment, he said, you're not going to do that because I'm going to shut you guys down. And he did. So Tillis and Cassidy and Collins, nobody talked. They shut down the Congress. He said, I'm the boss. And he just said the same thing overseas. He said, basically, let's see, I'm going to have one of my guys over there is going to say that Germany should go to the right. Germany should move to the right. Now, there's an interesting foreign policy. I haven't seen that in the 20th century, certainly. Go to the right. And that's what his vice president said. I want you to accept the AfD, join the right. Put up with them, not only put up with them, tolerate and use them. Bring them forth. Go to the right. Get to the right. You know, it's unbelievable. And then he treats little countries like Ukraine like they don't matter. Europe like it doesn't matter. He's the big boss at home and the big boss overseas. And no.
Did you just hear that? Whether you like it or not, they have given him the power of the boss, the big boss. Okay? And thank you, again, Ike, for that super chat. He's the big boss overseas. Just like globally. Everyone is admitting this. Some way or another.
Nobody stands in his way. And I watch the Democrats and the media, too. It's very hard to take on a firing squad. A lot of bullets coming your way, all aiming at you, and you've got to shoot back in all directions at the same time. Nobody in the Democratic Party can say, Schumer can't do it. He's a good leader. You know, Pelosi was a fabulous leader. But the ability to take on all the shots at once, now that's interesting. You know, Peter Baker can do it in the New York Times. You know, he's one of the few people who can actually lead a news story and talk about everything that's going on and attack back. Why can't a Democratic leader stand up and say, what I just said, this guy's taking down the Congress. He's taking down the rights of the American people. He's the big boss overseas and back here. The big boss. Listen to him. Do what he says. Nobody's saying that. Chris Murphy's trying. I keep waiting. Who's going to stand up? Who's going to take a shot back at this guy? Why isn't Cory Booker doing it? He's got all the talent in the world. I am a big Cory Booker fan. Do it.
He said, who's going to take a shot back at this guy? Do you see what he did? That was the whole reason I played this. Yes, this is old Chris Matthews, okay? All these pundits up here doing their thing. But I want you to see, maybe, like, I don't have cable, all right? I'm not seeing all this crap all the time, but somewhere out there in many homes, millions across the country, people are sitting there taking in this brainwashing. Whether they're washing dishes and listening to it, or sitting there watching it, whatever. They're taking this in. And the subliminals that are being dropped are just ridiculous. This guy came in right at the gate talking about a machine gun and all this and killing Congress and all this is dropping all these key critical words. This is how they work. And you got it twisted to think that these guys really hate. This is all part of the show, man. It's all still part of the show. So he's dropping all these seeds out there to do this. And then in the end, he even mentions the gun again before he gets to the end. And then shots coming back at you, he said. And then finally, it's somebody going to take a shot back at him. Is what he said. That's what he just said. So he asked the question. He just put it out there on people, hoping to find the next, per se, Luigi. That's willing to be activated or whatever because of all of this type of crap. When they brainwash certain individuals, especially younger individuals, haven't figured this out, in school and at work and then on TV and all this other stuff, man, they're going to get somebody, MK Ultra and all that stuff also is a very real thing. For people out there that are MK or just, putting somebody under hypnosis is real, okay? Keywords, trigger words are real, man. I feel like oftentimes it's part of the game here. Like that's what they're doing too. They're triggering certain things. Anyhow, I just wanted to put that out there so you see what's going on, how they're manipulating the wordplay to stick into the mind of someone. Hey, I'm going to play this clip. Mr. Gentile Messiah. You'd think that that's some stupid name that we came up and gave him. But no, that's what his masters call him. He shuts down this lady here. And you can see kind of like the boss hog and dictatorish, like, oh yeah, like you're going to be done after this. Like kind of open threats he throws at this lady because she challenges him. Basically says she'll see him in court. And of course, he does his thing.
The NCAA has complied immediately, by the way. That's good. But I understand Maine. Is Maine here, the governor of Maine? Well, are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal laws.
We are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding.
See you in court.
Every state, good. I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one. And enjoy your life after governor because I don't think you'll be in elected politics.
It's just like this, the comical stuff to me. Like this is just garbage. Like, he pops off at the mouth like that up there in this protected room. Like she said about as much as anyone's gonna say to him and can't say to him. That I'll see you in court. And he just kind of shreds her up like, oh yeah, like you're not gonna be nothing. You're not even gonna be in politics after this. Like, at this point, like, yeah, she's like gone. That's the Messiah complex. So Trump confirms this audit on Fort Knox. They're downplaying these revaluation rumors. And I told you about this earlier. There's no other way around this. First off, you got to go in there and you got to audit it. That's the whole thing. You got to see how much gold we got. You can't reevaluate something it's not there. And, like, do you even really trust if they go and they show you that gold is in there? Like, this is a puppet show. It starts to get a little interesting because you're like, okay, where are they going to take this? Like, They could very well come out right now and tell you it's all gone. And let me tell you something. Think about this. Think about this. At this current moment in time, if you're them, and they're evil and they're plotting and they're doing their thing, if they're like, you know what? AI and the data is telling us out here with all the information floating around that most of the people think that it's empty. It's not there. Let's just tell them it's not there. Do you see? Like, I can envision them doing this. They'd be like, let's just tell them it's not there and let's just keep it. Like, what's the difference? We're going to blame it on some dead men. Because even if they did say it, like, where did it go? Rockefellers and all that, dead men is what they're going to blame it on. They won't even blame nothing on no one. Do you see my point here? They will not blame anyone for anything. They're telling you all this treasonous stuff has happened. Trillions of dollars, billions of dollars in the black holes. They've even got credit cards and all this other stuff, and they still ain't mentioning names. This is garbage. And now they're going to go into Fort Knox. And what? Tell you it's not there? Like, you've got to be kidding me. They're going to walk in there, live streaming it, like Elon said, and what show the whole world that it's not there. Like, why didn't you do this last time? Like, you're telling me that Trump, no one ever thought about it? Like, you never went and peeked? Like, no one, it never was mentioned once the last time he was president, like, to go check on. You're telling me nobody goes and checks on it? Well, apparently not. They're saying, like, this, it hasn't been checked on, like, in a stupid long time. But on the outside, you see the guy that runs the place. He was interviewed. He says that any senator is welcome to come and take a look at our gold anytime. But we had one that went down there and he got rejected. So it's like, hold up. Like, let's put this thing to bed. Like, I'd go down there and do it, but they don't let me. But of course, Elon, Mr. Baphomet, he's gonna, I don't know what they're about to present to us. It gets tricky. Okay, but say they find it, it's in there, everything's good, right? What Trump is going to do is he's going to reevaluate it, okay? He's going to reevaluate the gold, and they're trying to not let the cat out of the bag, but it's out of the bag. Elon keeps saying that 4,500 tons of gold belongs to the American people. He keeps saying this. It isn't sitting well with me. I feel like something's going on with it. Like the spidey senses are just hitting hard. IQ, thank you for the memberships. Everyone that got them, welcome to the underground. Susie Q, Spiro, see you creeping in, son. See you creeping. If he reevaluates this, what this means is that they'll use it in terms to try to help save the dollar. In a sense, okay. You can see right here they're downplaying the idea of revaluing the reserves from $42 an ounce. That was a price set in 1973 to the current market prices of almost $3,000 an ounce. You know how much of a boom that is? Okay, it would deliver a one-time windfall of about $700 for the government, and thereby it would reduce the need to issue any more bonds. And you wouldn't have to worry about China that's dumping your bonds and everything else. This would be a huge move. It says the Treasury Secretary said he has no plans to visit Fort Knox. He said it's all there. Any senator is welcome to see it. Well, it's like garbage because we had a senator go there and got denied on film.
One thing potentially that could happen, and people are questioning it, is maybe remarking gold. Elon Musk, who's leading Doge, was talking about maybe going to Fort Knox to make sure those gold reserves are there. That comes under your purview. Do you have any plans to visit Kentucky?
I don't have any plans. I can tell you that we do an audit every year. I can tell the American people on camera right now that there was a report September 30th, 2024. All the gold is there. Any U.S. senator who wants to come and visit it can arrange a visit through our office.
Gold was your biggest holding when you were a hedge fund manager before you divested to become the Treasury Secretary. So you know the value of where gold is right now versus where it's marked on its balance sheet, just north of $40 an ounce. It's close to $3,000. Is it under consideration for this administration to revalue gold?
I think that somehow when we were talking about the sovereign wealth fund and I said monetize the balance sheet, I can promise you that's not what I had in mind.
So, well, that's what he's saying, okay? Yeah, Mike says, I totally trust him. Yeah, like, nope. I don't think so. Nope. We don't trust you, buddy. Nope. You and all the ones dressed just like you, talk just like you. Demon. Just like you. This one says that Trump's goal was to abolish the IRS. Now, remember what I said about the external revenue. Hey, this is a good thing, right? If they're going to do positive things, then let's bring it on. I'm telling you, he's bringing on a reset. He's bringing on a massive reset. That's what this whole thing is about. He's doing it right in front of everyone's face in the name of winning. The whole magic of it was to flood them with so much winning. Do you see? You see how it works, man? Flood them in. Just give them dozens and dozens and dozens of winning. Just nonstop winning. And then in the midst of all that, when you've got big headlines, big gossip, everything, slide in one of the things that they're not going to like. And to make it through. That's how they see it. And it works. It's working large scale. It doesn't get past us. But it's working on, that's all it needs to work on. It just needs to work on their masses. You see? Their base, as they call it. Their MAGA base. Okay? He says jump, they say how high. IRS getting wiped out, huge move. A lot of people would love it. Some of the states are looking at doing this anyway, wiping out the income tax or the tax like that. He is talking about making everyone else pay for it. The only downfall is, look, if you try to strong arm people and someone says like, you know, the heck with you. Say China says this. Doesn't want to play, you know, by whatever you're trying to say, by your rules. They can just cut things off. A trade war could begin, right? And it could make things nasty. So what I'm saying here is like, if you're expecting everyone else to pay for it, that's on through tariffs. Remember, tariffs are not what it seems. This, again, is black magic. We, the people, are paying for this stuff. We, the people, are paying for it. But the lemmings, his base, that don't ask any questions, they're seeing it some other way. It's because of the way it's being presented. They put it out there, and Trump's like, yes, we're putting tariffs on Canada, we're putting them on Mexico, and China, and whatever. And there's going to be more coming, I'm warning you, and blah, blah, blah. Well, why would he be warning? Why would he even say that? Well, stop and think about it. It's because you're paying for it. That's why he's warning you. You're paying for it. Okay? The downside is if people don't want to pay for it, if people don't do it, if they don't have the money or whatever to do it, it'll then hurt China. Okay, but if the company's also based in America, this is like, Trump is a big businessman. You guys know this, man. You're fired. This is a tactic to bring a lot of business back to America, and that's where I'm going with this. It's like, you kind of have to have that because we have weak manufacturing. We have to have something to sell. If everyone was just to say F you and like not ship goods to the US and like didn't need us because we're not producing nothing, we're hurting bad. And that's almost where they got us. It's insane. It's like a setup. It's a total setup. It's a total setup. I don't know, man. So this is just taxing you in a different way. This is tacking large chunks of money onto these items, refrigerators, dishwashers, whatever he's going to take this. It was light last time. This time it's going to be heavy. And again, his base is going to pay for it. They don't even get it. They think, oh, well, China's got hit with 25. Yeah, they talk about it like they're paying for it. Like, really? Like, what is going on? What? Like, it's the black magic. Again, I can't, you can't escape it at this point, man. Yeah, so, all right. Let's move to the next one. Kash Patel. I don't know what you think about Kash, but part of me is like, I just don't trust none of them, ever, anyway. But at the same time, after Christopher Wray got out of here, it's good to see a fresh face, and it's like, can you really be worse than Christopher Wray? Like, or are you going to do all the stuff you're saying? Like, Kash is on film, like, saying stuff that, like, we would talk about. Okay? He says things like, the Federal Reserve is not even federal. It's not even part of our government, man. He starts speaking some truths like that, and that other people like wouldn't even be saying. They'll just let you keep on believing whatever, but he just got sworn in. Trump, Bondi, basically signed off, and we'll play just a little piece of this so you can see this is the new FBI director. Good or for bad.
Wow. First and foremost, we were just with President Trump, and I just want to thank him. I know he's not here in the room right now, but what a ride we have been on, what a courageous warrior and leader he has been, and the faith and trust he has put in me to lead the FBI is the greatest honor that I'll ever have in my life. And to General Bondi, that sounds pretty freaking cool. Pam, you're my sister, you're my mentor, you're my friend, you're my boss, and the confidence you have placed in me, I will never violate that trust. The men and women of the FBI will be led under your leadership through one standard, the Constitution. So thank you for entrusting me, Pam. Oh man, this is effing crazy. So obviously you don't get here alone. I'm here because of God. I'm here because of my family, and I'm here because of my friends. And You're literally in this room because you made it happen. My sister, Nisha, and my nephew, Aryan, flew in from London just to be here. My beautiful girlfriend, Alexis, is here. Yes, I agree. My aunts and uncles are here. They've come from...
So this is how it's starting, okay? Just so you can see. You know, there's one thing that I've learned is in this political realm, you can't, like, I don't trust none of them. It doesn't matter how likable someone is. Chances are they were selected for that very reason. That's what makes them work well, okay? And this has been an all-star team. Again, from Tulsi to RFK to Patel to Hexeth, all their picks. They try to make it like an all-star team. Rubio, that like people liked, that they thought the people liked. Like there wasn't going to be a Pence up in this. No Judases or anything like that, so to speak. Even J.D. Vance, they put him out there to be, but he's controlled by the same group of guys that control Trump and dub him the Gentile Messiah and gave him a silver crown, all on video, which I've showed you. And that's who's controlling all this. So all these little chairs and little positions, FBI, CIAs, it's all under Trump anyway at this point. It's a hierarchy. Let's see what they do. Okay, it's on now. All this talk. Let's see what happens. I mean, let's hope they don't try to pull some smoke and mirror stuff like what Elon's doing over here. They come out and say, oh, we've got all this stuff, like 300-year-old people are getting paid out, and it was just an interpretation, a misinterpretation, that they didn't see a date of death next to it, so they assumed that they're getting paid out. See, we can't have that. Like, and we're about to have more of that, unfortunately, with Elon Doge. Let me start to tear into some of this other stuff here. Some J6 stuff. All right. Now, we've got Enrique Tarrio arrested. If you don't know who he is the leader of the Proud Boys. It sounds so funny just saying that. I'm sorry. He was in jail, tied in with all of the January 6th stuff, along with a bunch of other guys, Proud Boys, including Joe Biggs. And Joe Biggs, a lot of these guys, free now, and I'm glad. I don't know all these guys or anything like that, and I don't trust no one. But like I was saying about Biggs, I don't want to see, because I knew Biggs personally, I didn't want to see him rot in prison, okay? But I knew when Joe Biggs was dyeing his beard, out there running around, like something wasn't right. It wasn't the Joe Biggs that I ever knew. He didn't care that anybody knew that his hair was white. He's been like that his whole life. It was like he was trying to portray, like, do something. To me, it looked like he was being controlled through this whole thing. It's what I snuffed it out to be. Because I didn't trust the whole Proud Boys thing, this whole thing with Enrique, the whole thing, the whole vibe was fetish. And, I don't know. Look where it landed them all. I mean, granted, they got pardoned and they're out, but boy, if Trump wasn't in there, I mean, these guys could have died in prison. Easy. Without this turn of events. So, this guy, Enrique here, he is out in the street, and some lady runs up on him. I thought this had the video. Apparently it don't. She runs up on him and, like, is doing something with, like, her phone, like trying to get like right up in his in his face, and he grabs it and he throws it. Well, he throws it right in a direction like 5 feet, 10 feet in front of a cop, and cop sees the whole thing, runs right up to him like, "I seen you throw the phone. Come over here," and like they snatch him up and they take off with him, and they arrest him. He got released, but it looked like a bit of a setup, if you ask me. The way the lady rolled in, the way it was all being filmed, and I don't know. I don't know, man. The whole thing with J6 to begin with was one big honeypot. And so there's so much about it that I just do not trust. And whose watch was it under there? Like who was their master overseeing everything? Trump. They're doing it all for him, right? Oh yeah. Mr. Gentile Messiah, let me remind you, he was down in Mar-a-Lago, hanging out with Gates, talking about new technologies and how to make money off of it, in medicine and all this other stuff, and Gates discussing all of his tech advancements with jabs and things like that. Well, he should have been arrested because this is, again, black magic. They come out and they tell you, oh, Fauci and Gates and this and that, but what? Like, Fauci, what? Fauci gets pardoned? Is anybody going after him? Anybody doing anything? No, can't, because he's pardoned? Like, what? Like, okay, what about Gates? Well, Gates didn't get a pardon, right? Well, like, he's down there dining with Trump. And it's like, if this was anything like it was ever said to be, and Trump was really a righteous dude, say he was having a JFK moment, and like, was like, you know what, I'm turning against the beast, I'm really gonna do this. Well, like, you would like, it'd have been boss at that moment, like, to slap cuffs on Gates and like, begin this thing. Like taking the criminals out. But that's just not going to happen. It's obviously not going to happen. This is all show. And people need to get with it. So Trump introduces the Pfizer CEO at the White House. Okay? And the people start to boo him mercilessly. Because they're not stupid. Like, they're like, what is going on here? It'd be almost the same if they brought Gates out. Like, people are not stupid like Trump. Like, what are you doing? Like, I see some of his followers make the stupidest excuses, like, he's publicly humiliating him. It's part of a tactic that he's doing, part of the art of war, blah, blah, blah. And it's like the Q thing. Where, like, they just make stuff up out of thin air and whatever sounds good and starts to stick, you know? There's no excuse. Why is this dude not arrested? Pfizer and all this stuff. Come on, man. No, Trump's hanging out with him. The crowd at least booed him down. That was the plus side, right? Like, at least they didn't just blindly cheer him on, right? So at least they were cognitive of that.
We also have the head of Pfizer here, so I want to thank him. One of the great people, one of the great businessmen. Thank you, Albert. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
That's all Trump could do is like drop his head and keep saying thank you very much. Like, dude got booed down. Good. Like, what are you doing hanging out with him? Like, again, in front of everybody, a power move, a boss power move right here in this moment would have been to throw cuffs on him on camera and let everybody see it. And you'd have two of them taken down and we'd be getting somewhere, right? But that's just a fantasy. That's never going to happen. But yet, that's what a bunch of people seem to believe is going to happen at some point or something. I don't get it. He is the father of it. He's Mr. Warp Speed. And he didn't ever attempt to take down Hillary, you know. I'll never get over that. All the shirts that were sold, Hillary for prison, and she was there like front row, like all the presidents were. Everyone showed up except for Big Mike. As inauguration, like there's Hillary, there's criminals right there. Like they should all be arrested, but like it's never gonna happen. That's what I'm saying with this. Like all this treason that they're trying to come out and tell you that just took place. He even said, Elon, earlier, he's like, just last week they were trying to send, blah, blah, blah. Like the last week on Biden's watch, they were trying to send all this money to places. That's treason. Like they should go to jail. Like they shouldn't get a pass if this is really what you say it is. If not, it's all just, again, a puppet show. And why is it we just keep coming back to that? Why is it we keep circling back and come back? Man, it's a puppet show. It is. It all is, man. Look, I'm going to play this clip. A little bit of a break. A bit of laughter with this one. These guys are in jail and they break out and the dude films the whole thing or like live streams it. So I'm going to play this clip and it's crazy. It's not that long.
All right, it's time to break out of jail. Come on. Come on. There we go. Stop hitting me. Stop hitting me. No, that wasn't me. Pull it out. Pull it out. Go ahead. Everybody. Go. Guys, get this. Come on, show us where to go. Come on. Come on, guys!
So, of course, they all get busted, and he was facing 8 months. He was more than halfway through it, so he had like 4 months to go, and he was out. And they did this. Do you see me, or is that a helicopter? Is that a helicopter? Wow, shaking the whole place. I can feel it shaking. That's weird. Everything starts shaking. I actually hear this humming, this vibration, like. I don't know, man. Anyhow, I don't know. It threw me off. Sorry. Let's go to the next one. The last one that I seen out there the other day was a Black Hawk. But you just never know around here. I don't know. This is an interesting one. A third-term project here for Trump. But this has some stipulations to it. It means that only Trump basically can do this. Because it has to be a living president that has a chance to have 2 consecutive terms. to do what they need to do properly. And that he got robbed of that, basically, with the whole Biden thing. And that he deserves at least a back-to-back consecutives. But Obama couldn't get a third because he did back-to-back terms, you see? So he would just have to sit there. It's not like he could take advantage of it. This is tailored to Trump. And they're very, 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 very serious about this.
Connected directly inside of the cabinet, or have contacts that this would be an official bid for a third term, or are you guys just trying to raise awareness as activists?
Raising awareness as activists right now. Trump has brought up that if the public demands it and the rules are changed, such as with Representative Andy Ogl's amendment that's been proposed, that Trump would step up to the plate. So we are confident that he would step up to the plate if we get to that point. We have not been in contact with officially with the administration. We're building the grassroots groundswell that will lead eventually to President Trump's third term.
Are you looking towards any precedent at the state level where governors have served non-consecutive terms?
Not necessarily, but we are interested, if possible, for Article 5 convention of the states to enact the third term project. So we're looking at every available avenue to get this done.
Why not 4 terms? I'm just wondering, why would you stop there? Why would anyone believe that you're stopping at a third term?
I mean, I like I said earlier, I have no problem with that as long as it goes to a fair democratic vote. So we want to make sure that we protect the integrity of elections, so that, if the public says we don't want a third term of Trump, he may have that option. But if the public does not want him, that's not something we want to enforce. But we do, believe. I personally believe that he should be allowed to run. That presidential term limits, they were not in the initial or original version of the Constitution put in by the Founding Fathers. It came about later. So I'm about preserving the original intent of the Constitution. But but first things first, let's go for the third term and then see how it goes from there.
Yeah, as I mentioned, it's a limited modification. It's simply about allowing a third term. It's not to say that anything else is off the board, but the criticism is usually, well, what about Obama? He could run for a third term too. Well, no, we're just saying that you should be allowed as a president to have 2 consecutive terms, and so that would not apply to Obama or really any other recent president. It would only apply to President Trump, who had his second term interrupted because the election was stolen, as we believe. If someone believes otherwise, that's fine, but we want him to have 2 consecutive terms to be able to effectuate his agenda and make America great again.
So you're thinking that this can be done without some kind of constitutional amendment?
No, it would require a constitutional amendment.
Yeah, Representative Andy Ogles has introduced a resolution that would amend the Constitution. That's what we're rallying support around right now.
So that seems like a very long shot that could ever get approved.
Well, some people said that Trump winning in 2016 was a long shot. Trump coming back and winning in 2024 was a long shot.
You would need Democratic support in order to get that.
And Trump, you see the Democrats in Trump's administration, former Democrats, I should say, RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard. So we are seeing a shift in political consciousness, and we hope to apply that to the Congress as well in getting this passed.
I'm sorry if I missed the beginning, but can you just talk about your organization, who you are, what is this initiative?
All right, so you can see they're very serious. Andy Ogle is pushing this. They're trying to have an amendment to the Constitution, limiting. It says Kev Barr says there are no rules to change. There is the 22nd Amendment limiting terms to 2. 22nd Amendment must be replaced. This could be... Well, he was saying they have to try to amend it. So they go in and they switch it up and change. Simply what he's... Simply what he was saying. That they want him to have consecutive terms so that he can finish his agenda. Tired of winning yet, yeah. Here, switching it up to Ukraine. Things are changing there rather quickly. Zelenskyy basically very two-faced. Everyone can see it. They're calling it out. Trump is personally very upset with him. And it's time for him to go. It's a straight-up time for this character to go.
When President Trump posts that President Zelenskyy is a dictator without elections, what are you thinking?
I think President Trump is very upset at President Zelenskyy, and in some cases, and rightfully so. Look, number one, Joe Biden had frustrations with Zelenskyy. People shouldn't forget it. There are newspaper articles out there about how he cursed at him in a phone call because Zelenskyy, instead of saying thank you for all your help, is immediately out there messaging what we're not doing or what he's not getting. I think the second thing is, frankly, I was personally very upset because we had a conversation with President Zelenskyy, the vice president and I, in dollars. And it also, now we have a vested interest in the security of Ukraine. And he said, sure, we want to do this deal. It makes all the sense in the world. The only thing is I need to run it through my legislative process. They have to approve it. I read 2 days later that Zelensky's out there saying, I rejected the deal. I told him, no way, that we're not doing that. Well, that's not what happened in that meeting. So you start to get upset by somebody. We're trying to help these guys. One of the points the president made in his messaging is, it's not that we don't care about Ukraine, but Ukraine is on another continent. You know, it doesn't directly impact the daily lives of Americans. We care about it because it has implications for our allies and ultimately for the world. There should be some level of gratitude here about this. And when you don't see it and you see him out there accusing the president of living in a world of disinformation, that's very counterproductive. And I don't need to explain to you or anybody else, President Trump's not the kind of person that's going to sit there and take that. He's very transparent. He's going to tell you exactly how he feels. And he sent a message that he's not going to get gamed here. He's willing to work on peace because he cares about Ukraine. And he hopes Zelenskyy will be a partner in that and not someone who's out there putting this sort of counter messaging to try to, hustle us in that regard. That's not going to be productive here.
Yeah, so what's happened here is Zelenskyy has declared martial law in Ukraine and basically said there's going to be no elections because the cat got out of the bag. Basically, Russia's leadership said it on record that they're just going to hold elections and vote him out. That's simple. Just like anyone would do in this situation. Zelenskyy did not like that and declared martial law and said there's not going to be any election. Well, Trump said it's not important for Zelenskyy to be involved in these peace talks. Like, Trump's just basically saying, look, stay out of it. Like, I can talk peace. You're just running your mouth now. Zelensky's trying to re-spark this whole Russia narrative that Russia and Trump are in bed together, blah, blah, blah. And it's going to be to the detriment of Ukraine and the Ukrainian people. Trump's just done with him. They're finally reporting that this general right here is the favorite to win the elections in Ukraine. He would have more than double the votes as the dictator Zelenskyy. Zelenskyy? That's how you say his name. Yeah, that's him right there. That's the guy that would replace Zelenskyy. So I wouldn't doubt if Zelensky's a nutcase at this point. If we tried to kill this guy, take him out. But his replacement is waiting in the wings, and it seems like he doesn't want to go. But you got a top spy here saying that they believe peace is going to happen. It seems like it. The posture of Russia and just Trump, it just seems like it's moving in that direction. I think Trump just tried to come in. He tried to do what Trump does. He come in and says, look, you're going to give us $500 billion in rare earth minerals. And he didn't even stop to check and see if they had that. And as we talked about last time, in their very minimal mines and natural resources, it would have taken like 400 or 300, 400 some years for them to pay that back, which it was ridiculous to think. John Boy, thank you. This makes Trump look like the Prince of Peace that they're calling him, if he can land this and secure this deal. So he's like, Zelensky's out of it. Just let me and Putin hash this out. Moscow's demanding that there's a withdrawal of forces from Eastern Europe because they're in Saudi Arabia right now talking. Moscow demands that the U.S. and NATO withdraw. Now remember that, because this whole time it's been the United States and NATO like buddied up against Russia and them. It almost seems like there's some crazy things happening in the air. Poland is a target that they're trying to go in and base up in. And they're talking about this thing called Fort Trump. So I was going to put that in the title too, because this is a huge idea by them. They want to call this base, American base in the region in Poland, Fort Trump. Just like in Israel, they made Trump Heights after him. And just like Chris Matthews said earlier, he is like the boss here and he is the boss around the world. Like this is crazy. You've never seen anyone given this much power. Even like other world leaders just like bowing down, just like accepting it. You know, Putin's first words were, "I'll meet Trump with pleasure." And what's this? An ominous post. This leftist member of NATO says that Trump is NATO's greatest threat. That's a pretty bold statement, right? To say that, to say that Trump is NATO's greatest threat, that's saying that he's a worse threat than Russia and all this, that's crazy. But that's what he's saying. So if they pull out of this, I mean, Trump's already ditching all this other stuff. We'll see where this goes, man. It'd be a huge, crazy move. A rug pull. If he buddied up with Russia to squash any World War III crap, the Ukraine crap, left Europe on their own, I don't know. It's definitely fragmented at this point, and that's where it's heading. We'll see. We still have Iran, the final boss, yet to be hit. And look at this in Israel. You have public transport hit 3 buses exploding in quick succession. So they suggested that they were bombed. We never seen any proof after that. But this is what they're saying. So that they halted all public transportation. Buses, trains, light rails, all this after what they're saying now was an attempted terror attack in Tel Aviv, Bat Yam, and Holon. So they were empty, thankfully. Nobody in them. But, yeah. They're turning around, pointing the finger at you-know-who. And at some point here, they're going to go after Iran. That's all Netanyahu was really wanting when he was here. He was like, all right, give the green light so we can finish the job. Go after Iran. In the meantime, in the Baltic Sea, the cables keep getting cut. These are main communication lines. They're running across the floor of the water there throughout the Baltic Sea, and it's like this across many of the oceans We've got a big stretch to go across the Atlantic Ocean from the United States over to the UK. They've been getting hit big time. I mean, this is like military type moves. China's doing it. Russia was said to be involved in some of them. But yeah, it keeps happening. Australia freaked out because of unusual movement from Chinese warships off their coast. They're like, look, they're positioning like something can happen. And if you look at any of the simulations, and I even seen talk of this earlier, it would be nothing for China to take Australia. They're like sitting out there by themselves. They're a key ally in that area. Okay? I want you to think back to, it was MH370 or whatever, and they said went down the ocean initially. China had vessels out there trying to search the ocean to see if they could find anything. And they were having problems refueling. So they had to refuel out there, and it was interesting because we got to watch them do the whole thing. And it was like, man, like they're watching them do all this. They had to bring everything out there to fuel up, and they had nowhere to dock. They had nowhere to go for safe harbor. The closest place would have been Australia, but they're not a friendly in terms of China. So they're positioning. And this is interesting, man, because the whole thing, that's a whole nother war front, man. As one dies down, another theater opens. That's why they call them theaters of war. They literally rub it in your face. John Boy, much love. And don't get it twisted. People die in these wars every day, all the time. It's because there's a control aspect that's, and a lot of it's a lie and it's distorted. It doesn't mean they're killing a ton of people, and they've slaughtered a whole generation of Ukrainians that to this day are trying to run for their lives before they get sent to the... They're probably praying to God that Trump works out some peace deal. Yeah. All right, so Mexico plans to change the Constitution to protect the cartels from military strikes. So this is the government of Mexico taking a position where they're actually going to back and try to defend the cartels. And this comes as the U.S. designates those cartels as foreign terrorists. Hey, much love. Thank you, Spiro. Appreciate the comment. All that much love, brother. Yeah, that's all. That's something that's heating up, man. Is this whole border thing? I want to play this next thing on Elon Musk. And his connection to all this stuff. And it's almost like they're potentially covering their tracks here with all this stuff going in all these places. Because as this guy says and shows, Elon himself and his companies were getting paid through U.S. aid. The same place they just went in and dismantled, right? Seems like a conflict of interest, huh?
Elon Musk is not a renegade outsider. He's a massive Pentagon contractor. And this article is written by Alan McLeod, who I follow on Twitter. He's a very good tweeter. and this is a good article. We covered his article, something he did before that was
I
also
had him
good.
on my show later after that, and I really liked him, Alan McLeod. Yeah.
So I don't think he's going to come on our show. So
Really?
well, it doesn't seem like it. He
Well,
came
I'll hit
on
him
your
up.
show. Maybe he will come on.
Yeah, I'll hit him up. I wanted to talk to him anyway.
Oh, okay. So he's always somewhere. He's like, hey, I'm traveling and I don't have my computer. And I'm like, that doesn't sound right. And he's like, oh, I'm in Europe or whatever.
Took his PayPal down, probably stifled a lot of.
Did they take his PayPal
Yeah,
down?
remember
Is that the guy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So anyway, so then I DM'd him. I'm like, hey, you want to come on the show? And he's like, no, I'm traveling with my computer. I'm like, that's a little suspect. So then this next time, just today, I was like, hey, I'm going to cover your story about Elon. You want to come on? And he's like, no, I'm in Europe and I can't. And I was like, are you really not? I was like, so I go, hey, do you ever want to come on the show just so I know I'm not wasting my time? Right? Bugging you. That sounds like you're scared to come on the show, but maybe he
Why
will.
would he come on my show if he's?
Well,
scared
now
of
that I
him?
heard he came on your show,
I mean, I guess I have much less.
you have much less
chance of anyone knowing he associated with me. That's possible. But he didn't seem like that kind of guy. He seemed like
No, he doesn't seem like that kind of guy at all. He does great work, and that's why I wanted him to come on. So I hope he comes on. But anyway, here is Musk, I'll try to get to the highlights of this. He says Musk, whose estimated $230 billion fortune.
That's like.
Do you know that's more money than a big pharma company? That's how much power he
It's
has.
significantly less than Alex Jones owes.
It's more than twice the gross domestic product of Ukraine. He has garnered a great deal of positive publicity for donating thousands of Starlink. So he donated Starlink terminals to Ukraine and to help its people come back online after Russia downed their communication stuff, right? So this is just one thing he's involved in, okay? Just to show you that he's in bed with the war machine. So Starlink is an internet service allowing those with terminals to connect to one of over 2,400 small satellites in low Earth orbit. Many of these satellites were launched by Musk's SpaceX Technologies company. So his own company and then he's got this. So he's got it all contained. He's a full service guy for your internet link. However, it soon transpired that there is far more than meets the eye to Musk's extraordinary donation. All right, here it goes. The U.S. government quietly paid SpaceX top dollar to send their inventory to the war zone. USAID, a government anti-insurgency agency that has regularly functioned as a regime change organization, is known to have put up the cash to purchase and deliver at least 1,330 of those Starlink terminals. So the government.
I have a question. Wait.
That is boom. That is boom. That is huge. That's huge. This is a massive conflict of interest. It's a bombshell story. It should be covered and spread like wildfire, but it will not be because they're black magic. And they've got all their people, even the journalists, just sitting there, not going to say nothing. That Elon himself has been paid off through these government programs like USA that they try to come out and attack and tear down. They made huge moves for him. In essence, help make him who and what he is. In pushing 1,330 of these terminals. He was directly paid through USA, and they come in, it's the first thing they came in and tore down. Anybody else see? Man, is it just the investigator in me or what? I see these things, man. Ava, thank you for the coffee. It's like, man, oh man. Like, they just came in and it's like Building 7, man. This came in and wiped out all the records. Right? Anything that could have got them in any trouble. right? Sure did. For surely have the opportunity to do it. It's just kind of ironic, you know. Some same places, same programs. See, Elon never wanted to mention none of this when he was trying to talk all that crap. You know, so this is like huge stuff. Like, they're literally going into agencies where they can, like, I mean, he's an unelected, world's richest man, running through everything. And even wanted access to everyday people's tax stuff. Do you know that? Do you know that? To your tax stuff. Why? Yeah. So just wait till these tables get turned. In the moment that you say you don't see, that's why everyone's a scared sheep over there, because how they are, how they're trained to be. Like, the moment like you don't agree with the whole entire agenda, like, they bark at you, and it's like, oh, you vote for Kamala. But, you know, they start there. And it's just like, no, that's like low intelligence crap right there. Like, yeah, this is a cover-up disguised as transparency. Spiro, yes. So it's true. It's a 100% true thing. And the best analogy I can ever put to it is it's black magic, because they're pulling a ruse on their own people. Yeah, it's crazy. The scale of it, when you see it for what it is, like you just said, when you see it for what it is, it's thank you, John Boy. This is all startling and crazy. It's nuts, man. The level at what they're doing. I mean, they got control of it all between him and Trump right now. They're doing anything. They're gutting everything. They're cleaning everything up. They're telling you whatever they want. They're throwing bones out for people to chew on. And they're presenting what seems to be a bunch of winning, right? And that seems to be the trick, is flood it with a bunch of winning, you know, like just dozens of stories of winning, to overwhelm things, and to overwhelm the one headline you slide out with it that's bad, that you hope they look the other way on. And it's working. It's working. That tactic is working for them. You know, it's crazy. I don't know, there's a line in the sand, though, man. Like, bird's eye, thank you for the coffee. It was one thing to say, oh, this whole thing about trying to retort back to saying, oh, you would have voted for Kamala. Like, the election's over. Like, no one would have voted. You know, you have to see the illusion for what it is, right? Kev Bar, man, thank you for the coffees and the support, my brother. One big club and you ain't in it. You got that right, as George Carlin said. It is one big club. It's just like, musical chairs. They just switch the positions around. Shift them over here and over there. As I told you earlier, I think Biden and Kamala signed some Hollywood stuff already. It's all such a show. But I wanted to just show you here Elon's connections here to all this, and, you know, give you some background on how he got so rich. You know, he had to be granted these contracts that paid it to begin with, and people had to approve these things, and places like USA, it had to be major players in making it all happen. Yeah, yeah, it's true. Thank you, John Boy. it's a USA critical here. This is another one that's going to kind of get swept under the rug because no one has the integrity to even report on it. They should be honest, and they should be exposing this. They should be like, this is a open conflict of interest. It should be a story. It should be being talked about, but it won't be. For the most part. You're not up in the upper echelons of the mainstream for sure. We'll see. We'll see what goes down here. But I'm telling you now. And look at this. Musk has concerns over his security. He receives a series of threats. And they have deputized members of the detail down here. So he's geeking out. He's feeling the heat. He's doing all these things. And I'd say it's going to be like this for the rest of his days. World's richest man. He could pay having a small army. I mean, he has his own little legion. He's got the Terminator bots. He's got a whole army of them. Can you imagine how many warehouses he's already got made of these things? These Terminator bots. All they got to do is put a weapon in their hand. If they're not already built with them. Lasers incorporated in them and everything else. He's got them. That's the thing about Elon Musk here that some people are overlooking is he literally has an army that he's created. Same man that wants to put a chip in your brain, world's richest man, has an army of Terminator bots that I believe are weaponized. He can use them at any time. He could overthrow small countries with them. Because conventional weapons are not going to be able to stop them. We're entering an era where it's about to get really crazy. All these good old boys, everybody out there that ever stacked up on ammunition for revolution, civil war, whatever, when it hits the fan, right? That ammunition may end up being obsolete when the enemy is one of these Elon Musk Terminator bots or one of the Meta ones. It doesn't matter. They're going to be bulletproofed, made probably the same material he made the shell of the Cybertrucks. It's not going to be hard to make these things bulletproof when they're made of metal. Yeah, man. This is going to be tricky. Like, they unleash these things. Every battlefield's its own little petri dish where they're testing things. Imagine the first people, the first populace that has to fight these things. It's going to be a change up in tactics. You have to find its weak spot. And all that. And these things just don't die. And you just never know how they can... This is the world's richest man. They get crazy. They unleash these on a populace of people, and they're in there, and they're hunting people down. People are battling them. They could make these things like self-detonate and everything else, like with a mini nuke in its core, and just take out a whole block. They could do some crazy stuff. And he could do it. He can do it. They're here. They're made. Just go watch the videos, man. It's crazy. These robots trying to run around. And they got their... they know that the everyday person isn't going to be able to afford these. But like the upper class, richer people, they're definitely trying to hit them hard. Like, you could see Kim Kardashian and other stars trying to promote them like, you have to have one of these. Like, it's only $100,000 or so, but like, it does everything. And whatever. That's how they're pushing it. But who can afford that? The rich, whatever, and those in the club. But that's just a little personal one. The War Machine ones are going to be different, man. I'm telling you, it's things to think about. You always envisioned, UN troops rolling in with their blue helmets and this and that. But what if it's nothing like that at this point? Everything's changing so quick. Like, why would they even do that? Why would they even need that and play that card at this point? When they've got robots to do it. It's already here. It's here. It's here. It's not in the future. It's now. Yep, sitting in some hangar, and probably multiple hangars. And what if this dude just gets some wild hair, gets pissed off and decides, I'm going to use these on people? Protests kick up, and they're getting too much, and Trump ain't got enough police in the streets, and he's like, well, hold up, let me roll out my robots. And these freaking Decepticons start rolling in, transforming, and taking people out. Like, it sounds so sci-fi and crazy, but we're there. We're there. These things could literally fly in. He has all the tech, all the ability. They have crazy ability, crazy tech right now, man. Just things to think about. The battlefield's changing, even right here in America. And who is the enemy? Who is the beast? Who would be sending something after you? Well, things to think about, I guess. Guess that brings me to the end of another one. Oh, yeah. Much love to everybody out there. Time is flying. That's right. EMP would wipe them all out, Gary says. That's true, but that's nuts. that just leans toward an EMP won't happen, if you ask me. There's a lot of options, trust me. I've talked about EMP for years, over and over. Like, it could happen, and it could happen anytime. But maybe they roll the robots out after the EMP. You ever think about that? Oh, then it's over. Maybe that's it right there. That's like checkmate, EMP them, and then open up the vaults and let the robots out. And what if they're EMP proofed anyway? Come on, man. You don't think the world's richest man ain't thought of this stuff? I don't trust Elon. I don't trust none of it. None of them. I just go off vibe, man. This is nothing political. We're past political. This isn't political. Is just a game. If you're lost in that, then your level's behind. Levels and levels. And I'll say this. There's a line in the sand that has to be drawn here. Again, it was obvious. They gave everybody the option, to try to choose between Kamala and Trump. But, we're beyond that now. It's time to keep these people honest that are in there. They just got Kash Patel in there now. It's like he's got his whole team confirmed. They're in there getting the business. You got to keep things honest. Anyone that cannot keep anything honest is just not honest. They're not trustworthy. And I don't trust that at all. I don't want them nowhere around me. When we're talking about critical things and you're acting like you're a truther, when you're acting like you're out here representing the truth, but you're over here playing this Trump game, something's got to give. Something's got to give. Something's got to give. We're sitting here calling out all these evils and you don't tweet on it. You don't speak on it, this and that. It's ridiculous. You turn a cheek to it. It's getting old. It's getting old fast. I can't take much more of it, to be honest with you, man. It's fakery. I don't deal with fakes, man. And some of these people out here got a choice to make. You continue down this path with the ones that are showing themselves to be like the anti. Or you go down with it. Sure you'll take that mark. Much love to all the purebloods, all those that fight the good fight, that stand strong against the beast. They're very slick with what they do, man. It's a crazy world, huh? John Boy, thank you. Look, man, hope for the best. When good things are happening, like we said, we'll shed light on it. When bad things are going down, we got to shed light on it too. I don't know what's going to happen from here, but if the Lord doesn't return in the coming days, I'll see you guys here next time for some Underground World News Live. You'll stay safe out there. Much love. God bless. Legendary. God bless. Eon. Much love. Yeah, he fits. Pixie, Joe, Spiro, Sissy Q, all the mods, thank you. Thank all of you that share the stream, that come and hang out, that keep it real. Much love. Hey, Bossy, Gary, Scott, Alina, Jay Quinn, Miss Brady's Ghost, Quantum. Much love. Someone